Hello, welcome to the webinar. We're going to get started in about 30 seconds or so because there's a few more people still joining. Just briefly, what we're going to cover today. In the recent webinars, I've been talking about SEO and social media advertising and so on. But it did occur to me that I've not done one on website conversion in quite some time. And really, that's key. There's no point getting lots of people to your website if they then don't make an inquiry. So what we're looking at today is in quite a bit of detail, how to get those website visitors to then make an inquiry to contact you so that you've actually got a chance to do a quotation and win their business. Those that know us will know we only work with electrical, fire and security companies. So everything I'm talking about today is focused on those industries. We don't do anything else apart from those sectors. And therefore, we've learned over time what works best for the sorts of customers that you're working with. So I think we'll get started. Let me share my screen. There we go. Hopefully you can see that all right. Let me just move this out of the way. Okay. So increasing website inquiries is key, and there's a number of ways that can be done. And I'm going to go through what we do with when we build websites, how we go about raising the number of inquiries that come in, just I suppose the kind of the sort of the tricks of the trade, if you like, that we've learned over the years. Now, at the risk of aging myself, the first time I built a website was about 30 years ago. And back then, all that mattered was getting it to load quickly. Internet was via phone lines, and therefore it was very, very slow. And all that mattered was having a small amount of code on the site, so it loaded up very quickly. Nowadays, we can do anything. We can have video, we can have photos, we can have vast amounts of content. But the danger is that people come to the website, they don't see anything that really interests them, excites them, and therefore they don't bother visiting the contact page and making an inquiry. It's very easy these days to open up 5 or 6 different websites and decide, I like that electrical company and this electrical company, and I'll contact those too. So what we're going to look at today is how you persuade them to contact you rather than just opening another website and contacting somebody else. The things I wanted to go through were why website conversion is important and the impact a few changes can make on the number of people that do make contact with you. What we think are the keys to website success and what we've learned works best in these sectors. The best way of laying out the website itself and the actual individual pages, what content should go on the page, and by that I mean the text and the images, and also the mobile side, because I'll show you some statistics on the websites that we run. But about a third of people will be looking at a website on mobiles these days, so it's important to get it to work for them. Before diving into all that, this is a quote I came across some years ago, which does rather sum up what's going on these days. Your website is the one place every customer, supplier, employee, and investor will go to find out about your business. Now, customers, yeah, fine. We know our customers are going to go there. They'll see your van drive past. They'll notice the website on there and the phone number and so on, and they'll look at you online to find out more about you. Suppliers do too, but these days employees are key. I mean, everyone's struggling to hire good electricians, good fire and security people, and we know that when they're considering where to go and work next, they'll have a look at your website. So it's not just your customers, it's also the other people that you work with. It's the suppliers you use, it's the employees you're trying to hire. Everybody goes to the website to find out more about you. And in terms of your marketing, it really does all lead back to the website. So, being found in search results on Google Maps, advertising directories, social media, and so on, everything goes back to the website. So it has to be, I suppose, the perfect salesperson. It has to reflect you, because 24/7, it's out there telling people all about your company and trying to persuade them that they should contact you rather than one of the thousands of other security companies that they could contact. First tip I always have for companies when they're looking at what to do with their website in terms of changing it, modernizing it, updating it, etc., is to copy the layout of websites people look at most often. Now, these are the most popular UK websites. I've left out the likes of Amazon and Google and so on, but these are the sites that people go to then, do something, i.e. buy something, find out more information and so on. They all have some similarities. All the big websites have a number of similarities. They all put the logo top left. Now, there was a trend a few years ago to put logos at the bottom and in different places, but why do that? Copy what the big websites do. Put your logo top left. All have the menu across the top. All have simple menu headings with 1 or 2 words. Useful information at the top on the right, typically, or along a band across the top. So things like phone numbers, help information. For the big companies, it'll be there where their stores are and where their locations are. And all have images with sales messages on the first page. So just showing you examples of a few of those sites, because these are the sites that we're looking at day in, day out. Whoops, let's come back to this one here. So Argos, as an example. There we go, logo top left. They've got a bit of useful information across the top here. What have they got over on the right there? So there's a link to their stores, help information, and so on. And image-wise, we've got an image here, we've got an image here, and we've got some simple sales messages. Inflation price punch, great prices on hundreds of toys, all very simple and straightforward. Within seconds of arriving at their site, what they're offering, what their special offers are, and so on. Let's have a look at Currys. So some are inflation busters. A good thing always is to have people, i.e. yourself, on the website, because we as human beings will always go to a face before we go anywhere else. If we see an electrician working on something, we'll look at that electrician's face first, then we'll look at what he's working at, then we'll look at the message beside it. It's just a sort of a natural thing we do. But Curry's the same. The menu is here, very, very simple and straightforward. They've got quite a lot of information up the top here, but the kind of the useful information you need. Asda, same again, simple menu, nice clear images. Screwfix, a more complicated menu because there's a lot of different things they're doing. But looking at the images and the sales messages, packed with power. We've got power tools. We've got say £5 on boots. We've got lights and so on. Everything is very, very simple and straightforward. I'll just have a look at a couple of these other ones. Sainsbury's, same kind of thing. Save £168 a year. B&Q, 20% off. Looks like everything's got 20% off at the moment. So they've all got roughly the same structure: logo, menu, useful information, and then an image and a sales message that, in a few words, sums up what they're offering. So first up, let's talk about website conversion. Now, 10, 15 years ago, people had a website to give out their contact information. So it was literally, phone number, email address, and a few bits of information, nothing more than that. Websites weren't really used to generate new inquiries. They were there more as here are our contact details. A lot of companies obviously were using Yellow Pages and so on to get most of their inquiries. That's changed. Nowadays, done right, most of your inquiries that aren't from your existing customers and their referrals are going to be from the website. People that you have not dealt with before, not spoken to before, will find your business through a search engine or wherever and come to the website, and based on what they see, will then decide whether or not to contact you. So website conversion is very important. We built a new website for a company, I think it was about the beginning of this year, and we kept a track on the data of their old website compared to their new website. And the old site, and this was an electrical company, the old site was getting about 320 visitors a month, about 4% of those made an inquiry. So they were getting about 12 new inquiries each month. So this wasn't from their existing customers. These are completely new inquiries. We discounted all their existing customers that were contacting them. Out of those 12 inquiries, about a third became a customer. So they got about 4 new customers each month. Their jobs varied between, I think it was about about £200 and about £2,000. But on average, their average job was about £450. So in terms of new work each month, the website was generating about £1,800. We changed the website. It was a very old, unattractive, unappealing website, which is why it wasn't doing very well. We changed it. We made it look much more modern, much better, lots more ways of contacting, etc. And without doing anything else, in the following couple of months, the number of visitors stayed about the same, but the number making an inquiry increased fourfold. So rather than 12 new inquiries a month, they were getting 51 new inquiries a month. Nothing else really changed. They were still getting about a third becoming customers, and they were still doing the average job size of about £450. But overnight, with a new website, suddenly they went from about £1,800 of new work each month to about £7,500. And that's just because the website went from a very boring, uninspiring site that didn't really encourage people to make contact with them to one that showed photos of their business, listed their reviews, made it very easy to make contact, things like that. So making a few changes can make a huge impact on the conversion, on the number of people that make an inquiry, and obviously then become work for you. We tend to stick to what we sort of think of as our 6 kind of keys to website success, which are easy navigation. So an easy way to find the page and the information you want and then move between different pages. Simple sales messages. Now, ideally 5 or 6 words long. If you have to say what's good about your company in 20 or 25 words, people aren't going to read it, or if they do, they're not going to be able to digest it. You need to say very quickly what's good about your company. We've been providing security services for 30 years, things like that. Very, very sort of snappy. We have more than 50 5-star Google reviews. Those sorts of messages that are very, very short and to the point that someone can read it in a second, understand and relate to it. Colorful and interesting. Those sites like B&Q and so on, and Screwfix we just looked at, they're all colorful, they're all interesting, there's lots going on. Personality is important. Now, the easiest way of giving personality to the website is to have photos of your team and your work. To my mind, always the best team photo, well, there's 2 types. One is if you've got, let's say you've got 10 vans and you've got 10 or 12 electricians, a photo of the vans lined up with the electricians in front is fantastic, because in a second someone can look at that photo and they can grasp the size of your business. Now, it's not always easy getting that sort of photo shoot together, but it is well worth working towards it longer term. What is a lot easier, though, is having photos of your team working. So let's say you've got someone putting up a new CCTV camera. Rather than them staring at the camera, looking a bit silly and smiling and feeling a bit uncomfortable, what works much better is that the camera is here. They're there with a screwdriver. They're looking at the camera. You've got a photo side on. Better still if you can sort of see their logo on the shirt whilst they're doing it. And you've got a photo of one of your employees working on something, and you can take lots of those photos very easily, and that builds personality and sort of character into the website. Calls to action are key. Now, one of the worst things with the website is when someone gives lots of information about what they do, and then that's it, and there's nothing more. For it to work really well, and the example I just gave before with that website, we increased the conversion dramatically. One of the things we did was at the end of every page, we said, contact us for a free quote. And we made it very, very simple. We gave them a couple of options: phone or fill in a form. So nice and easy ways of making contact. Lastly, the website's got to be mobile friendly. I'll show you in a minute some stats on the electrical, fire and security websites that we run in terms of the mobile views. But it's key that it works on a mobile. And by works on a mobile, I mean it's very, very quick on a mobile. So someone can open it on their phone and they can quickly see all about you, and they can scroll through the pages, and everything works nice and easy. So let's have a look at the pages you need on the site, and then the layout of the site itself. So there are a number of key pages. You need a home page, which is very much a summary of everything on the website, all about your business. Then for each of your services, you need a page, an individual page. So let's say your security, you need a page on CCTV, intruder alarms, access control, and so on. Possibly you need pages for the sectors you work in. So let's assume you're doing domestic, commercial, and industrial. You could have a page for each of those if you're offering different things depending on the sector. So domestic, you may be doing certain services, commercial, different ones, and then having a sector page to explain what you do for each can be quite helpful. When you're doing particularly larger jobs and more commercial work, case studies are important because they're a chance to demonstrate what you've done for others in the past and show your ability to deal with particularly the larger work. If it's a small domestic job, then people aren't going to be too worried about case studies. Social media is good enough for that. You can, show a few photos of car chargers you've installed, something like that. But if you're doing big electrical wiring work, it's much better to have a case study to show exactly what you've done and the size of the job and things like that. Location pages. Now, by that I mean, let's say you're working in Milton Keynes, Northampton area. A page for Milton Keynes, a page for Northampton, a page for Wellingborough, a page for Kettering, and so on. The reason for that is that if you want to rank in search engines in your local area, in those places, you need to be talking about those place names multiple times, because people will search for something like electrician Milton Keynes or CCTV installer Milton Keynes. But it's very difficult to get Milton Keynes into the CCTV page multiple times without it looking daft. And you can't put a list of all your locations because that doesn't really work. But what you can do is have a location page for Milton Keynes, and in there talk about all the different things you do in Milton Keynes, and have another one for Kettering and another one for Bedford and so on. And those pages you can target at ranking well in search engines and therefore bring in a lot of visitors into the website. News or blog pages are very effective in the same way as locations, because they will bring traffic to the site. They are a way of talking in great detail about what you do and your knowledge, which in turn will rank well on search engines, which will in turn bring people into the website so they can then find out more about your services and and who you are and what you do. The last couple of important pages are an about page, and too many websites don't have these. This is key because let's say I'm looking for someone to install an intruder alarm in my house. If I search for intruder alarm, I'm going to get thousands and thousands of replies, and it's very easy for me to look at 10 different companies, but I've got to narrow it down to one or two I want to talk to. And the way I am going to do that is I'm going to look to find out a bit more about the company, and that's the about page. There's a chance for you to sell to me why you are the right company. What's good about your business, what's special about you. And I'm looking for things like a reliable company, a safe company, not going to come around here and, I don't know, put muddy footprints throughout the house, make a real mess, things like that. And it's the same whether it's domestic or commercial. I run a business and I'm looking to get CCTV installed in my business. I want to be sure whoever I choose to come and do that, I can trust, and they're not going to make a mess of things. So the about page is key, and that's a chance to really sell who you are as a business and your kind of competence, qualifications, accreditations, and so on. Last page, obviously, you've got to have is a contact page. And we'll show you an example in a minute, but our view is nice and simple. When someone's ready to contact you, don't put any barriers in their way. Make it as easy as possible. Give them all the options. Some people like to phone, some people like to email, some like to fill in contact forms. So, give them a multitude of options so they can choose which they like best. Very simply, here's a sort of a layout of a typical website. So imagine this is a menu. We've got across the top of the page, we've got home page, services, sectors, locations, case studies, news, about, contact. Home page is just one page. Services, we need a page for each of the individual services. If we need sectors, we've got the different sectors, maybe agricultural as well in there. Locations, again, a page for each location. Case studies, as many as are needed. And news articles, as many as are needed. And that's a very sort of simple, common layout structure of a website. So diving a bit deeper now, we're looking at the parts of a website, of a web page rather. There are three parts. There's the header, which is this band across the top, and that's the same on every single page on the website. There's the body, which is the bulk of the page here, and that can be as long as needed. And we've trimmed this one down, but this on this particular website, it's a very long page, but that's fine because it has lots of information on it. And the body is different for each page. And lastly, the footer, which is down at the bottom here, which is the same on every page of the website. So just looking at those in a bit more detail. So the header, and this is a simple example of it, coming back to the initial sort of rules based on all the big websites in the UK, logo top left, menu across here, and all the menu items are simple, straightforward words that someone can, quickly understand. Contact details, so we've got a telephone number here, and you can click on the phone number and it will ring. We've got a contact form here. You can click on that and a little form will pop up to get a free quote. And we've got social media links there as well. So a nice, simple header, because it's on the top of every single page, and it just gives somebody an easy way of navigating about the site. The footer is on the bottom of every single page, and we want similar sorts of information in there. So we want contact details and company information. So we've got phone number, email address, physical address, a little bit about the company on this one. We've got links to the key pages. We've got social media links. And I do quite like to put a sort of a call to action in the footer as well, because it's on every single page in the website. And therefore it's a chance just to have another contact us sort of message. So within the text of a page, you'll have multiple contact us messages. But if you put it in the footer, it's on every single page, and it's just another one when someone's come all the way down the page, they get to the bottom, and it's saying to them, here's what you do next. We're trying to tell people what to do next. We don't want them to spend 5 minutes looking through the website and then go and make a cup of tea and forget about it. We want them to look through the pages they're interested in and then make an action. I showed you that example before where the website conversion went from 4% of people making inquiries to, I think it was 16% making inquiries. And the biggest difference in that, apart from the site looking better, was having these simple ways of making an inquiry, simple forms, simple buttons, simple messages. And that does make the world of difference. Now, the body of the page is the key thing. And this is where the bulk of the website lies. And we've got three focuses here. One is the interest of the potential customer, the person looking at it. We need to get them interested. We need to get them, looking at lots of pages and reading and getting to a level where they're ready to make contact. The second thing is we need to get the site to rank well in search engines. Now, it's no good if we have the world's best website in terms of conversion and everybody looking at it thinks it's fantastic and then they make contact if only 10 people each month ever find it, because it doesn't rank in search results. So we need to make sure it's got what Google and Bing and so on are looking for, and therefore it's ranking highly in search results. And the last thing is, obviously, we need to make sure it encourages people to generate inquiries. So this is only part of a site here, but just looking at this one, so we've got a button here, get a free quote. We've got a phone number link there. We've got a bit of text and then, contact us, another bit of text and contact us. And this site carries on further down, similar with lots more kind of ways of generating inquiries. In terms of what should go on each of the pages, the body of each page. So the home page, the text length doesn't really matter. It needs to be a summary of the website's content. So it can be as long as it needs to be, but it's really a summary of the whole website. The service pages, so a page for each of your key services, CCTV, intruder alarms, and so on, needs to be at least 400 words in length. Much less than that, and Google and so on will ignore it as just not having enough detail. But the focus on those pages is on the viewer, on the person looking at it. So it needs enough words for Google to kind of consider it, but it needs to be written and targeted at your potential customer. Now, I say that because a location page, Milton Keynes electrician, is aimed at ranking well in search results. So some pages are designed for the person looking at them to enjoy and then make contact. Other pages are purely designed for search ranking. It's a tricky balance, but we need to make sure lots of people are coming to the website, which we achieve through high search ranking. But then we need to make sure all those people that are coming to it, a decent number of them then make contact. So a location page about electrician Milton Keynes, commercial electrician Milton Keynes, domestic electrician Milton Keynes, rewires Milton Keynes, all those different sort of topics within that page. We're looking for at least 600 words, but we're aiming it at search engines rather than real people in the main. Case studies, we're aimed at the person looking at the website. We're given photos and information about them, and I'll show you some examples of this in a minute. News and blog, and these articles ideally should be long, and these again are aimed at search ranking. Nice big long detailed articles about solar, for example, talking all about it, aimed at getting you to rank well when someone searches for solar installers in their area. The about page is aimed at the viewer, persuading them to contact you, and the contact page is obviously focused on generating an inquiry. I'm going to go through that in a bit more detail, but before I do, let me just try and explain that in a bit better. There are two audiences for your website. There's search engines and there's people, and they have different requirements. Search engines want lots of text. They want good code behind the scenes, behind the site. They want it to be fast and fast loading, and they want there to be links between pages so they can easily move between the site. That's what search engines are looking for. People are different. People want text that's easy to read, and by that I mean short messages, bullet points, things that they can in a couple of seconds understand and comprehend. They're not looking for great big blocks of text that they're going to have to sit there and read through, and it's going to take effort and so on to do it. They want photos, preferably of people and work you've done, rather than stock photos. And really, what they're looking for is in terms of a supplier, is a reliable company that's got expertise and sort of has reassurance that they can do the job. That's what they're trying to decide from this website. Should they contact you? Can you do what they need? And have you got the ability and the competence to do it? If you get this completely right and you rank really, really well in search engines, and lots of people are finding your website every single month, but you get this wrong and people don't enjoy the website and don't make an inquiry, then the site's not going to work. If you get this side right and the website is perfect, the text is easy to read, the photos are fantastic and everything else, but no one is finding it in search engines, again, it's not going to work. You're going to get no inquiries. So we're trying to balance the two audiences for the website. We're trying to get it right for search engines, but we're trying to get it right for people. And the perfect website has got the balance of the two, and therefore people are finding the site and then they're making contact with you. Let me go into a bit more detail about the actual content of the pages and what we sort of find works best, and I'll show you some examples as well. So the homepage, it's a summary of everything on the website. A main image is key. I looked at a site a couple of weeks ago, and it's a new site, but the first impression you got was loads of text. That we human beings, we love images. They say, what is it? An image is worth 1,000 words. On the homepage, have a big image. Let somebody see an image first, because that will kind of attract them, and then use some clear sales messages over the image, below the image, beside the image, something like that. Personalized photos are key. It's well worth, if you can, putting reviews on your homepage as well as on the internal pages, because we want, before contacting someone, to be sure that they're a good company. So if we've got some reviews there, it reassures. And also links to the internal pages. More people will visit the homepage than any other page on your website. So it's got to have a bit of everything, and it can then link to the other pages on the site. So it can link to the CCTV and alarms and so on pages, and it will give people a way of finding their way about the site. Let me give you an example of that. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this company here, Point Electrical. So this is their homepage. So at the top here, we've got a main image. And what works well about the images is we've got a person here. Most people will look at the person's face and the eye in particular first, and then they'll have a look at what that person's doing, and then they'll look at the text afterwards. So it works very well to try and have a main image there. In terms of the other things I was saying about kind of reassurance, etc., accreditations are good. All the way down the page here, we're using images. So we've got, it's worked well. We've got the logo on the back there, image of a job that's been done, another one with a logo and a person on, and everything is saying a bit more about the service, and find out more details, contact us, pictures of the team, and so on. So it's a very effective way of showing more about a company. So rather than just giving, yes, we could just have a great big block of text here and say, this is who the company is and this is what they're all about and so on. That's not going to work. It's not going to engage someone. It's too easy for me to look at 5 or 10 different electrical companies, and the only ones that I'm going to contact are the ones that I like the look of, that that give me that feeling that they're good and they're capable and they're trustworthy and so on. By having an image, it's engaging me. By having some accreditations, it's making me confident that they're reliable. So really, that's what a homepage should be. It should be a bit of everything. It should summarize all the different services that they do within this one kind of overview page. The next sort of main page is the services page. Now, these are focused on the viewer and generating inquiries. So we're going to have a service page for each service. So we're going to have fire alarms, fire extinguishers, etc., one for each. We're looking for at least 400 words to have enough detail for search engines to relate to it. But we can't put a great big block of text because people will hate that. We need to spread it out down a page. We also need to do a few things for search rankings, such as the keywords. So let's say it's a CCTV page. We need to have CCTV in the website URL, the link to the page, in the title of the page, and in headings and text as well. This is going a little bit more detailed and more towards search ranking side of things. But within the sort of the code of the page, you have a thing called H1 and H2 headings, which flag up to search engines that these are important. And on the page, you can have one H1 heading and multiple H2 headings. And within those headings, you can then have keywords as well. And the last thing on the service page is we need to have a call to action. We need to have a, here's what you should do next. Let me show you an example of one we got here. Okay, so this is a CCTV page. So just running through those things, here's the URL, the website link. It's page is called CCTV. In the title, the page is called CCTV. Here's our H1 heading link, which is CCTV. And then we've got some other ones that are going into a bit more detail. CCTV for business, CCTV camera technology, CCTV installation, and so on. And we're trying to put a lot of text in here, but trying to make it readable. Now, this is quite a big block here. We've put it into paragraphs to make it easier to read. But I know very well that a lot of people will come past this, but actually look at bullet points. Bullet points are nice and easy to kind of read and comprehend. Headings are nice and easy to read and comprehend. So, we as human beings will often take the kind of the easy route on a website, and we'll look at this kind of stuff rather than the harder blocks of text. We're ending up with a call to action, contact us today. We've got a little contact form on the right here. And a bit further down, we're talking about what else they do and another contact. So we're trying to make it nice and easy to understand at the same time as getting the page to rank well in search results so people are finding it. So that's the service pages. And yes, one of those for every single main service you do. And I say main because you don't want to end up with 20 or 25 service pages. Just have them for the main services. So let's say you do domestic CCTV, commercial CCTV, don't have one for each, have a CCTV page, and maybe separately have a page for domestic and commercial under a sort of a sectors area. Now, location pages are important for search ranking in your local area. And our rule of thumb is they need at least 600 words, and they need to have the keywords, i.e. your services that you want to be found for, and the locations in the URL, in the website link, the title, and so on. So let's take electrician. So your key service here is electrician. A lot of people will search for electrician plus their location. So electrician Milton Keynes, electrician Manchester, electrician Glasgow, things like that. So therefore, let's say we're targeting Glasgow, we want to have a Glasgow page, which we're going to call electrician Glasgow, because that is the most searched term with Glasgow in it that has electrician in it. We're then going to repeat that in the website link and in the headings and the text and so on. And we're going to use variations on it as well. Let's give you another example. So this one here, this company based in Essex, for them, electrician Colchester is a biggie. I think that's searched about 800 times a month. So it's quite a popular term. So if you look up here, we've got in the URL, the page is called electrician Colchester. The title of the page is electrician Colchester. The H1 heading is electrician Colchester. And in the text down here, we're talking about electrician Colchester. And this page is not designed in the main for people to read. It's designed to rank in search engines. What we're trying to achieve here is that when someone searches for electrician Colchester or something similar to that, so maybe it's Pat Testing Colchester or it's EICR Colchester, something along those lines, this is the page that Google shows in the search results. So therefore, this is the page that people arrive on the website on. So they come into the website through this electrician Colchester page, probably have a quick glance at it, and then they go to what they're particularly interested in. So let's say they're interested in rewires or EV chargers, then they go to that page. So it's very much a gateway into the website. It's bringing people into the website so that then they can go to where they are really interested and find out, more about what this company does, who they are, and then hopefully make a contact with them. The next type of page I mentioned is case study pages. These are focused on the viewer, and here images are much more important than text. Giving you an example again, let's see what we got here. Okay, so this company, DCI Electrical, they do mainly large commercial work. So with their case studies, we've got, let me just come back to this page. We've got a variety of case studies on there. And all we're trying to do here is give a few details about the job, a few more bits of information there, but it's really photos. This is a page that's trying to achieve confidence and trust that they can do the work required. So we're not going to go into vast amounts of detail about it. All we need really are a few details and some photos. So someone can look at it and say, okay, well, look, I've got a project, similar to that. And you've obviously delivered this one. So, you can probably do mine. Therefore, I'm happy to contact you and we can talk about it in a bit more detail. That's what we're trying to achieve with case study pages. The next one is news or blog pages. Now, these again are designed to rank well in search results. The good thing about blog pages or news pages is you can write a lot of text on it. You can write in great detail, and I'm suggesting 1,000 words plus is ideal. The more words, the better from a search ranking point of view, because then Google, etc., will find that page. They'll show it in search results. Somebody will, when they're looking for something, will come to that page. Then they're on your website, and then they're looking at the service that's relevant to them. Lists work well. The top 10, the top 6, that is all very good. Video is also very effective. I'm saying write 1,000 words, easier said than done. However, what works very well is to record a video of yourself talking about something. Let's say you've installed a CCTV system, and you're going to, as though you're describing it to your customer. You're talking them through how it all works, so that you could record a video showing the system, explaining all the features of it, how it works, the area it's covering, and then the actual monitoring and so on. Maybe there's a mobile app you want to talk about, how the app works. So you actually record a video as though you're describing it to your customer. And then there's software that will transcribe that video and produce text of it. So rather than you having this 10-minute video and then having to, go through what you've said and type it all out, there's a couple of things. There's one piece of software called Loom. It's a website called loom.com, where you can record your video and it will automatically transcribe the text for you. There's another one called otter.ai, which does the same kind of thing, will transcribe the audio into text. And then all you need to do is just go through your text and take out the kind of the ums and the ers. And if there's some words it's misunderstood, you can just change them quickly. But it's a way of creating a 1,000-word blog post about a subject very, very well, without you having to sit there with a blank sheet of paper, blank screen typing away. It works very well. It's well worth sort of experimenting with and trying as a way to get some big detailed posts out there. The other sort of idea behind blog posts is to answer customer questions. So if questions are coming up frequently, write a blog post that sort of answers those questions. Also, you can write them on the things that people are frequently searching for. And on Google, they have a thing called People Also Ask, which, let's see, let me have a look here. So if I, what should we do? Let's type in car charger installation. If I come down here, there we go. So the People Also Ask. This is telling you what people are often typing into Google. So in this example, we've got, can any electrician install a car charger? Can I install my own car charger? How much does it cost to have a charging point installed, etc.? So these give you some ideas on what to make into blog articles, the sorts of things that people are searching for and that Google will show in search results, that they're keen to have answered. If you click on one, so I've clicked on this first one here, it will add a few more. Add another one on, and it's adding in some more. So look, so we've now got a new one. Can I install a level 2 charger at home? How do you install a car charging point at home? Clicking on that, and a few more. Should I charge my electric car every night? It's giving you ideas on I suppose subject headings. And typically we suggest, if you're going to do one of these, copy word for word the question here, because this is a question that Google has identified as being frequently asked, and therefore it's a question that is well worth answering with a blog. And possibly what you can do is combine several of these questions into one blog post. So, you've got several similar ones, have a main title, and then these become the subheadings, and you sort of answer them within your post. But that's a kind of an easy way of getting some ideas for content for your posts. Okay, so the about page. Now we're getting now down to the pages that are really key for generating inquiries, and this is focused obviously on the viewer and on the inquiry, and it's key because people that don't know you will look at the about page. They'll want to know a bit more about you before making contact, so we need to make sure it answers those questions. The worst thing in the world is someone comes through your website, they look at the home page, they look at the service pages, they say, yep, you can do what I want. Then they come to the about page, and for whatever reason, it puts them off and they contact somebody else. So it's very important to make sure it sums up who you are, has some sales messages. I like to put reviews in there as well, because that's kind of a good way of persuading them that yes, you are the right company to contact. Let's have a quick look at an example. What have we done before? Let's have a look at this one here. There's about. There we go. So this company, Point Electrical. So we've got in here some sort of sales messages about them, just kind of reassuring who they are. So we're assuming someone's been through the home page, they looked at one or two services, they looked a couple of other places. They were now checking the about page, and things like why choose us are very effective. Simple key sales messages followed by contact us. Again, one or two people showing on the page. It just, you sort of think, well, I can probably contact this company, and they will be okay. They'll be able to do what they say. They're probably trustworthy. Until I've actually met them and spoken to them kind of face to face, I don't know for sure. But looking through this, it reassures that they know what they're doing. And then down here we've got some Google reviews, and they all sound good, and therefore you sort of think to yourself, well, I've never spoken to Point Electrical, but other people have reviewed them in a positive way, so they're probably okay. We see the team, and they all look like nice and friendly people, and it sort of puts the mind at rest. And that's really key, that someone's gone through your website, you don't want them to get to the about page and think, nah, I'm not really sure about them, and then they close the website down and they go and contact somebody else. You've got to make sure the about page does that final sort of sales job of persuading someone to contact you. Last page is the contact page itself, obviously focused on generating inquiry. And it's important to have multiple contact options, phone, email, form. Google Maps, very useful as well, particularly if you're working in a local geographic area. If you're working with people within, say, 50 miles of you, just have a Google map to show where you are, and they can see that you are relatively local to them. Let's see what we got. There's a contact page. Again, photo of who you are. Get in touch. We've got a phone number. We've got an email address. We've got physical address, contact form, Google Map down there. Google Maps are quite good because they show the number of reviews you've got as well, and someone can click on that to see a larger map, or they can click on here for directions to you if they just want to check exactly where you are. But really, it's showing, let's say I'm based here in Woking, I can see, well, this company, Big Green Electrical, aren't too far away. So, I'm happy with that. I don't want to be in Woking and deal with a company in Manchester. I want to deal with someone, within a reasonable distance of me in case there's a problem and they can come back and sort it out. Okay, so that's really the key pages on the website and what should be going on each. One or two other bits and pieces. First up, mobile friendly is super important. 10 years ago, it didn't matter because there were so few mobile views, whereas nowadays they are a big part of it. This we did a couple of weeks ago to look at our sites, our customer sites this year, the balance between desktop and laptop and mobile and tablet views. We broke it down by sector. So domestic electrical, 65% desktop, not many tablets, 32% mobile. Commercial electrical, a bit more on desktops and laptops, a little bit less on mobiles. Fire and security, domestic, 36% mobile, 62% desktop, and then commercial, a bit higher on desktop, a bit lower on mobile. Whether it be commercial or domestic, it's still around the 30% mark of people using a mobile. So, 3 out of 10 people are going to look at your website on a mobile. So it's got to work for them. With commercial work, when you're predominantly commercial, then the desktop use increases because obviously people are looking at your website whilst they're in an office rather than when they're sort of at home or out and about. But any which way, mobiles got to be right. Now it's an interesting thing here that Google takes what they call a mobile first approach, which is that they believe more people look at websites on mobiles now than on desktops and laptops. We've never found that to be the case. Mobile use has been increasing, and it seems to have plateaued around this sort of 30-35% mark. So we do take the view that desktop, laptop is the key one. So you have to get the website right for desktop and laptop first, but then it also has to work on mobile. So that's the kind of the view that we've always taken. And in terms of mobile, we build websites, and probably pretty much all modern websites are what's called responsive. So they respond to the size of the screen. So if your website's been built in the last 4 or 5 years, you should find that it works automatically on a mobile. It will realize the screen is smaller, and therefore it will change the layout and text size accordingly. What you do need to double check though is that things like the text is easy to read, because too often on mobiles, if it's not quite set up correctly, the words are hard to read. They become too small, or the titles become too big. Need to be sure that buttons aren't too close together, that you've got an inquire button, and then we've also got a phone number link, that there's a bit of space between them, because it's like you've got your fat thumbs, particularly as you get older, that it's hard to click on the right button. So it's important to make sure everything is a decent size, so that a menu link like this is big enough to be able to click on easily. And lastly, having a way to call straight from your phone. So clicking on the phone number rings the number, clicking on any other numbers further down rings the number, just to make life easy. That you click to call just makes it a bit easier for someone to contact you easily, rather than if I've got to then look at your website on my phone and then go to the phone side of my phone and type in a number, I'm going to forget it, or I'll get it wrong. It just becomes too much effort. In terms of contact options, I've mentioned several times the need to have multiple contact options, and really the reason behind this is that different people do different things. So a lot of people are just going to phone you. But if it's outside working hours, so let's say someone's at home in the evening and they're looking at your website, they're probably not going to call you at 8 o'clock at night unless you're an emergency electrician. So they're going to do something different. Maybe they're going to fill in a contact form. Maybe they're going to send you an email. Now, people fall into a couple of different categories. Some people won't fill in contact forms on the basis that they like a paper trail, which you get from an email. Particularly on the commercial side, we find on the commercial side, we get a lot more email inquiries coming through than contact forms, because they like to have sent an email with all the details on it. And then if it doesn't get responded to, they can follow that up. Whereas a contact form, you've typed everything into the contact form, it's been sent off. You've lost that sort of chain, if you like. You lost that trail of what you've said. The last one that's becoming increasingly popular is chat. Some people don't like to phone. They don't want that confrontation with this person, this complete stranger they've never ever spoken to before. So they like to try and find kind of a happy medium. The danger with contact form and email is the perception is it takes longer to respond, whereas chat is a quicker, almost instantaneous thing. And there's two types of chat. There is the instantaneous chat, whereby someone types in a chat message and the person on the other end responds immediately, which is okay if you've got a large company and you've got people sitting at a desk that can respond immediately to chat. But if you don't, a happy medium will be a chat that goes to a mobile text message. So someone will send a message to you through their chat. It'll arrive on your phone as a text message, and then you can respond to it straight away. So it's not instantaneous because you might be working on a job, but within 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you're responding to them. Let's have a quick look at an example there. I think I've got one here. There we go. So this is interesting. So this website here, we've got all options covered. So we've put their phone number up here. We've got an email address. We've got a little contact form box here, name, phone, email. And we've got a chat down here, name, phone number, message. So really, we've given them every option. Chat's always a relatively small number, but there are people that do prefer it over phone number. There's also the aspect of those who have English as a second language. Chat and contact forms can be an easier way for them to communicate, a preferable way, rather than picking up the phone and calling. So just to sort of sum everything up briefly, what I've tried to do today is to cover why website conversion is important and the difference doing a few things can make to the number of people that actually make an inquiry. And I show you that example of the site, we replaced, which went from 4% making an inquiry to 16%, with nothing changed apart from, the look and the way the website actually worked. We've looked at the keys to website success. What we find are the best site layouts and page layouts, what we think should go on each page. Now, these are, I'm saying what we think, these are obviously opinions. Everyone's got different opinions. This is what we find works best for electrical, fire, and security companies. If you're in a different industry, if you're, a restaurant, for example, then a lot of what I've covered probably isn't really relevant. But for electrical, fire, and security companies, these are the things that we find work best, that get the best results for our customers. Obviously, mobile friendly. And lastly, having multiple ways of making contact. Hopefully everything makes sense. If you've got any questions, by all means, give me a call, send me an email, or just have a look at our website. There's more stuff on there. There's a resources section on there, and within that, we've got an internet marketing checklist for electrical, fire, and security companies that you're welcome to download. Just go to our website in the resources section, and you'll see it there, or electricalmarketers.co.uk/checklist. If you'd like any help with your online marketing, we offer a free review of what you're doing currently, where we look at things like your online visibility, search ranking, directory listings, reviews, reputation, social media, and how effective your website is at generating inquiries. If you'd be interested in that, go to electricalmarketers.co.uk/review, and you can book a time in my calendar for a quick chat on the phone about what you're trying to achieve and what you're looking to do. And from there, we can go into much more detail and come back to you with really a review of what's going on and any areas we think you might be able to kind of change and improve. Hopefully everything's been useful. We'll send out a link to a replay in case you want to watch any bits again. But yeah, any questions, then please let me know. And I hope we've given you a bit more useful information today. Thanks again.